Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to this lecture. Now we have to move towards the next point from this unit, that is dual trace oscilloscope. So till now we have discussed about some basic structure about CRO, that is cathode ray oscilloscope, and its inside circuitry and its basic working we have discussed. Okay, now we have to move towards the dual trace oscilloscope, that is the next type. But what about the single trace oscilloscope? You have to keep one thing in your mind, is that whatever we have studied earlier about the CRO, that was a basic CRO, which is also called as single trace oscilloscope. Okay, so keep this in your mind. Whatever we have discussed earlier, that is basic CRO, can be also called as a single trace oscilloscope. And I think in previous video link that I have shared with you, inside that you have seen front panel controls of a CRO, and I think you know very well how to measure a frequency and voltage. So other measurements we are going to do in upcoming lectures, but we have to complete some another types of oscilloscopes or CRO. Okay, so let's discuss that. So we have to start with this oscilloscope named as dual trace. Okay, so if you see, this is the basic block diagram of a dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, so whatever the oscilloscope we have discussed earlier, that is single trace oscilloscope, it is possible to observe only one waveform. Okay, but in practice, in order to analyze different circuits, we have to compare and observe two or more signals simultaneously. Okay, so for that purpose we require multiple trace oscilloscope. So in this case we have to discuss about dual trace oscilloscope. So by observing the relation between them, the two waveforms, it is possible to come out to a certain conclusion about the behavior of the circuit under test. Okay, so what will be the cost effect solution to this problem? Yes, we have to use dual trace or multi trace oscilloscope whenever we have to observe multiple waveforms, okay, or multiple signals, we can say. So on the screen of a dual trace CRO, we can observe two signals simultaneously which are synchronized with each other. You have to keep in mind. Okay, but one important thing you have to keep in mind is that this oscilloscope generates only one electron beam. Although we have to observe, we are observing simultaneous two signals at a time on a screen, but the oscilloscope generates only one electron beam, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so which phenomena is used here? We have to discuss that. Okay, the same electron beam is used for generating two traces to display two different input signals simultaneously. Okay, but how to achieve this? So for this we have to use two modes. One is called as a alternate mode and another is called as a chop mode. Okay, so if you see the front panel control, you will get these two buttons, alternate and chop mode. Okay, so before discussing that, let's discuss about the operation of this dual trace oscilloscope, and let's discuss alternate and chop mode afterwards. Okay, so if you see here in this block diagram, there are two separate vertical input channels. Okay, so this is channel A and channel B. So these are the two separate vertical channels. So channel A and B, and they uses separate attenuator and preamplifier stages. So if you see here, this is channel A, it is having its own attenuator and preamplifier, and if you see the channel B as well, it is having its own attenuator and preamplifier. So what is this? What is the advantage of this? The advantage is that because of this arrangement, it is possible to control amplitude and amplitude of each input independently. Okay, so if you use common attenuator and preamplifier, you have to commonly adjust the amplitude, but due to this separate arrangement, we can separately adjust the amplitude independently with respect to this channel A and channel B. Okay, now after the amplification, both the channels are applied to electronic switch. Okay, so if you see this switch will pass one channel at a time to the vertical amplifier via a delay line. Okay, so here you can observe clearly the electronic switch, and this switch will pass one channel at a time to the vertical amplifier to this, okay, via delay line. Okay, so here there is a delay line, there is also delay line, so two separate delay lines are there for channel A and channel B. So this is a channel A delay line, this is channel B delay line. Okay, so now let us discuss about this trigger circuitry. So if you see the trigger selector switch S2 here, okay, this allows the circuit to be triggered on either channel A or channel B, or on a line frequency or from external signal. Okay, so if you see here, we have here four options for a trigger: either channel A or channel B, or external trigger, or you are having a line frequency. Okay, so these four options we are having. So this trigger selector switch, that is S2, this can be switched to any one point as shown over here. Okay, and the sweep waveform is fed to the horizontal amplifier via switch S1 and S3. Okay, so if you see this switch S1 and this switch S3, so here sweep waveform is fed to the horizontal amplifier. Okay, now again we have to discuss another mode, that is XY mode over here. Okay, so XY mode means what? Although it is not shown in this diagram, let me discuss that XY mode. Okay, so in the XY mode, or XY mode means the oscilloscope operates with a channel A, this channel A as a vertical amplifier or a vertical signal, and channel B is a horizontal signal. Okay, so whenever we have to do the accurate measurement, then this mode can be used, that is XY mode. Let me repeat this again. Whenever we are using a XY mode, this channel A acts as a vertical signal, this channel B acts as a horizontal signal, and this can be done with the help of these switches, as I discussed earlier. Okay, now the electron switch can operate in different modes. So if you see this electron switch, it can operate in different modes depending on the front panel control. So you are having some front panel control, and you can use this in different modes named as alternate mode, then chop mode. Okay, so these modes we have to discuss afterwards, but you can have channel A mode only. Okay, you can use this for channel A only, or if you want to use only channel B, then channel B only mode can be used. Otherwise you can do some mathematics with this. Means what? You can use this mode like A plus B, or then A minus B, or B minus A, or minus A minus B, like this. Okay, so these much modes are available. Okay, so I think the basic working is now clear to you. Okay, so let us discuss more about the alternate mode in this case. Okay, so I think this is clear to you. Okay, so I think you better understood this working of S1, S2, S3. Okay, so S1 and S3 are used for this connection of the signal to vertical and horizontal amplifier, and the trigger selector switch can be used to connect the channel A, channel B trigger, external trigger, and line trigger. Okay, so I think this much is sufficient, and this basic information is very important. Okay, so again, if you see the simple difference between single trace and dual trace oscilloscope, single trace uses single beam and displays single waveform only, but dual trace also uses single beam, but it is displaying you the two signals at a time. Okay, but how it is displayed? To understand this, you must understand alternate and chop mode. Okay, because you see that there is only one electron beam in dual trace oscilloscope as well, but we must know how it is adjusted, how it is made possible to display two waveforms simultaneously. Okay, so let us discuss about this by starting the first mode, that is alternate mode. Okay, so if you see this alternate mode, if you see, this is a sweep voltage, and here the channel which is connected to the display or shown on a display is presented over here. Okay, so in the alternate mode, the electron switch connects to the two channels A and B alternately in successive cycles of a sweep generator. Okay, So if you see here somewhere channel A is connected, then here somewhere channel B is connected, again there is channel A is connected somewhere, okay. And during this flyback the intensity is off, okay. So I think we have discussed this during sweep generator or time based generators circuitry. If you can you want to see it again, see my previous lectures, okay. So when the time base is set at a low speed or a slow speed, say about 50 millisecond per division, then the alternate mode operation can easily seen, okay. So here as I already discussed about this, that two channels A and B alternately connects to the sweep generator or in a successive cycles of a sweep generator, okay. So that's why some part of a time is taken by the channel A, then flyback is there, then next part is taken by B, then the flyback is there, again the channel is taken, the part is taken by channel A, okay. And if you want to see that, you have to set the slow speed of a time base up to 50 millisecond per division, okay. This electron switch connects the channel A and channel B to the vertical amplifier. If you see here, this electron channel connects this channel A and channel B to the vertical amplifier based upon this waveform, okay. And this switch is controlled by a toggle flip-flop. So I think you have seen the flip-flop, or you will study that flip-flop in that microprocessor topic or digital circuit topic. So in that if you know the JK flip-flop's toggle mode or T flip-flop's toggle mode, you will easily understand how the switch is connected, okay. So the toggle flip-flop is used to toggle the switching between this, okay. So initially we set the position of a channel A to upper half of the screen and position of the channel B to lower half of the screen, okay, so that you can see these waveforms separately, okay. So if you see here at the start of a new sweep, okay, at the start of a new sweep like this, okay, the switching takes place, and the switching rate of the switch is synchronized with the sweep rate, so that during one sweep channel A is connected and during the next sweep channel B is connected, okay. Thus the two channels are alternately connected to the vertical amplifier, okay. So at the starting of this, you can see you can see here I have discussed earlier, during starting of a new sweep, channel A is connected over here, and during starting of this next sweep, channel B is connected, okay. So the switching rate of the switch is synchronized with this sweep rate, okay. So that's why you can see that channel A is connected during the one sweep, and next during the next sweep you can observe channel B to the vertical amplifier, okay. But this, if you see the changeover action from one channel to another, the channel takes place during the flyback or a retrace of the sweep, okay. So here if you see here you can easily observe channel A for this sweep, and after that at this starting of this sweep you can observe the channel B, but during this period the changeover action forms, okay. So we know that during this flyback period the electron beam is invisible, okay, or intensity is off, so the changeover action, okay, that is also invisible, that you have to keep in mind. So that's why you are not observing the changeover action. Why? Because due to this flyback, okay, means the switching is done in flyback only. You can observe here also, okay, and some hold time is used over here like this, okay, for switching and triggering as well, okay. So whenever the time base is set at high frequency or high speed, then the two traces are not appearing alternately, but they appear as a continuous traces, okay. So the meaning of this is that whenever the time base is set at high, then you will not observe any switch over and all other things and this alternate operation. You will see this operation as a continuous. So that's why you can observe the waveforms continuously, okay. So let us discuss the drawback of this as well, okay. So what is the drawback of this? The two traces are not there actually at the same time, okay. So when different signals are displayed on each channel, they are not displayed together simultaneously, okay. So actually if you see, these two traces are not there actually at the same time. And if you see the second disadvantage is that on the slow speed, only one trace is displayed at a time, so it is not suitable for low frequency signal. That is the most important disadvantage of a alternate mode. So we can prefer, or you can prefer, the use of this alternate mode only when the frequency is high. Okay, so if low frequency is there or slow speed is there, only one trace is displayed at a time, so it is not suitable for low frequency signals. Okay, so what is the solution for this? Yeah, there is a solution. Means what? You have to again choose option for this alternate mode, and that option is nothing but a chop mode. Okay, so let's see that as well, chop mode. Okay, now see the difference of a waveforms in between this alternate mode and chop mode. See the waveforms carefully. So here this above waveform is again same. Okay, so there is sweep, then flyback, then some hold time is there. So this is sweep output, and see the time duration given for the channel A and channel B in the alternate mode and chop mode. Okay, now here if you see this waveform inside this, in the sweep mode, here this part is given to the channel A or high part, and if you see the low part, it can be given to the channel B. Okay, now you can easily understand. So in the chop mode, the electronic switch will make a several transition or changeovers from one channel to the other channel during one sweep. Okay, so here if you see the changeover action, that is happened in this flyback time only in alternate mode. Okay, and the full sweep, one full sweep is used for one channel. Okay, but if you see this chop mode, in this chop mode, in the sweep mode itself, this electronic switch will make a several transitions or changeovers from one channel to another channel during a one sweep. Okay, so how it is obtained? So for that you have to use one free running oscillator to control the switch position. Okay, so previously we were using electronic circuit or digital electronic circuit like flip-flop or toggle flip-flop, but in this case you have to use some free running oscillator because the switch position is controlling is very high or high speed. So channel A is displayed at for very short time, then channel B, and then again channel A, and then again channel B, and this continues. Okay, so this continuous this is continuous at a very fast rate, and due to such high switching rate, the displayed signal appears to be stable. As we are using this high frequency switching, okay, so the signals appears as a simultaneous or a stable. Okay, but one thing you have to keep in mind, that the switching rate is very high, in between 100 kilohertz to 500 kilohertz. Okay, so this is the important thing in a chop mode. So if the switching rate is slow, then the continuity of display is lost. In such cases you have to use the alternate mode. Okay, so the conclusion of the discussion about this alternate mode and chop mode is that whenever the switching rate is slow, just use the alternate mode, and whenever the switching rate is high, this you have to use the chop mode. That is the discussion or the conclusion of a discussion. Okay, so I think you have understood the dual trace oscilloscope now, then it's alternate mode, then it's chop mode. Okay, and I think it is clear to you now. Okay, now let us discuss some specification of a dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, so before that I want to discuss one mode, another mode, that is XY mode. Okay, so again that is important mode, and I think I have discussed earlier, but let us give some more focus on that XY mode. Okay, so another, if you see the XY mode over here, in XY mode the internal sweep generator is disconnected from the horizontal amplifier, and channel B acts as a horizontal input. Okay, so if you see here, channel B will act as a horizontal input, and the sweep generator is disconnected from the horizontal amplifier. Okay, we are discussing about the XY mode, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so why we have to do is that this indicates that the signal applied at the channel B will decide everything about the horizontal deflection spot. Okay, why we have done this? Just let me complete this discussion, then you will understand. Okay, So in XY mode, again I am repeating, this sweep generator is disconnected from this horizontal amplifier, and this channel B will act as a horizontal signal, and it will decide everything about the horizontal deflection of a spot. Okay, so what happens over here, in XY mode is useful in plotting Y input with respect to X input. Okay, means it is suitable for plotting a channel A, we can say channel A with respect to channel B. Okay, so thus in XY mode we won't get usual voltage versus time graph like in alternate or chop mode. Okay, so we will not get a graph like this or the signal, actual signal like this. So what we are getting over here due to this arrangement, so in XY mode we are getting some figures like a Lissajous figure or Lissajous patterns. Okay, so I think you have heard about this Lissajous patterns or Lissajous figure, and what is the use of this Lissajous figure? We have to discuss this in next lecture, how to obtain the Lissajous figure and how to make a conclusion over that. So whenever we want to obtain this Lissajous patterns or figures, we have to use this XY mode, and we can decide VI characteristics of a diode like this. Okay, so components like this diode. So in short, XY mode, we want to discuss about this. Then we have to see this channel A and channel B works togetherly. The sweep generator will not be there. The channel B is connected to horizontal amplifier, channel A will be connected to vertical amplifier, and that is called as XY mode. And in this we will not get any voltage versus time graph, that you have to keep in mind. Instead of this, we will get some patterns like Lissajous patterns, and that will be used for the phase angle measurement or to extract some information about the input signal. We will discuss later, or for plotting a VI characteristics of a diode. Okay, so that is all about the XY mode. Okay, now let us discuss about the specification of a dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, now here one thing you have to keep in mind is that the specification will depend upon the oscilloscope that you are using for your application, that its company, and based upon that the rating will be there. Okay, so but we have to discuss some generalized terms. Okay, so generalized specification over here. Okay, so again I am repeating, this is just specific to the company or the part or the serial number based upon that company product, and that will be different for different CRO. Okay, so we have discussed about this generalized specification over here. So the first specification is maximum. Maximum sensitivity of this dual trace CRO will be 5 millivolt per division. Okay, I think you know very well division. On that screen that screen is divided into different divisions. If you see the horizontal and vertical divisions, the measurements is given over there. Okay, so we can easily observe that. Okay, so in future if you get a time in practical as well, we will see that practically. Okay, and I think I have shared one video with you, and in that it is clearly shown to you. Okay, the second is bandwidth. So the dual trace oscilloscope is having a bandwidth of 15 megahertz. Okay, then input impedance of this dual trace oscilloscope is up to 1 mega ohm. Okay, so if you see the maximum rated input voltage, that input voltage is 400 volt. Then if you see time base, it is having a time base of 0.2 microsecond per division to 0.5 second per division as per your suitable states. Okay, or for your applications or the input signal that you have given. Then if you see the trigger source, you have 4 options that we have seen earlier. Like you can use either channel A, or you can use channel B for a trigger. You can use the external trigger, or you can use the line frequency for that as well. Okay, then the display mode, we have to see display mode. This is most important thing, I think, in the specification, because whatever the signal that you are going to watch on a screen, that depends upon the display mode. So this is the most important specification of any CRO, and you have to take care about that. So display mode is, one is alternate mode, another is chop mode, then channel A only, channel B only, or A plus B will be there or A minus will be there. Okay, so A and B are nothing but the channels here. Okay, so if you see the total measuring area of the CRT or cathode ray tube, that is 8 into 10 division, and you know that one division is of 1 centimeter. Okay, so if you have seen that CRO, actually you can see that one division is 1 centimeter for dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, so in lab as well, most of the oscilloscope are dual trace, because you may require two signals at a time for comparison, and so that you can make some conclusion about that. So most of the CRO that you are observing on in a lab, okay, in electronics, they are generally dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, so power supply, again, for this power supply is required for its operation. It is not related to this maximum rated input voltage. This is different, that this is the input that you are going to apply. Okay, and this is the power supply for its operation. So power supply is 230 volt, and it is single phase 50 hertz. So this is general frequency or normal frequency that we are getting at home. And the last is a power, that is 30 VA. Okay, so this is the power of that CRO. Okay, so this is all about the specification of a dual trace CRO or oscilloscope, and I think you have understood about this. Then if you have any doubts, then you can ask me. Okay, so in next lecture we may complete our syllabus. Okay, so I think this much is sufficient for today's lecture. We have seen this dual trace oscilloscope, then we have seen alternate mode, chop mode, XY mode as well, and after that we have seen some specifications of a dual trace oscilloscope. Okay, now in next lecture we will discuss about the dual beam oscilloscope, and we will discuss that for a short time, because you have understood the dual trace oscilloscope very well. So just I will discuss about the difference in between that, and then we will move towards the digital storage oscilloscope. Okay, and after that we will see some Lissajous patterns and its uses for extracting the information about the signal that you have applied for the applied to the CRO. Okay, so we will discuss about that, how to measure the phase using Lissajous pattern, how to measure the frequency using Lissajous pattern. Okay, and you know how to measure the voltage and the frequency with the help of single trace CRO. That video I have showed with you, and I think you have seen that. Okay, so for today's lecture this much is sufficient. We will see remaining part in next lecture. Probably we will complete this unit in next lecture, and after that, if we get a time, we will see the revision of this unit as well. Okay, but use the resources on internet, and please see the different types of modern CROs that are available in the market, so that you will get the information and updates about the CRO. Okay, nowadays most of the industries are using digital storage oscilloscope or a digital CRO, we can say. That also we have to discuss in next lecture, and you will understand the difference between the digital and analog CRO. Okay, and how to operate that and digital CRO, that also you must know. So again I will find another video for you, because that practical orientation or that practical knowledge is very important again. So if I get the nice video, I will share with you that working of a digital storage oscilloscope as well. Okay, or the actual use of that. Okay, so today we will stop here. Thank you.